I'd like one or two more cards for the control matches because they seem to be getting much more popular, but we'll at least run one more league with this configuration and then try to make some decisions afterwards. Um, well, this hand's good versus a lot of decks and bad versus a lot of decks, so just going to keep it and hope that we don't see like basic mountain on the other side. Alright. Let's see. I am more likely to not need the hieroglyph when we have two glimmers already in hand. So we'll start with it. Nothing on turn 2. Would make me typically think that we're playing versus ramp. All of the teamer decks, all of the green-red decks have 8 plus turn 2 drops. So let's hope it's not ramp. Not gonna cycle this cast out even though there's an argument to be made that I should, but pretty afraid of him just like resolving a Chandra, or like sometimes it can buy some late game pressure. They often have spots where they only have like one Eldrazi or whatever. This is one of our worst matches though, so really hoping that we can get something reasonable out of our board, but unlike the green-white build, I believe that they have enough diverse threats that the Gideon's interventions will not be great versus the red one. Yeah, Twitch had all sorts of issues yesterday, but seems to be working today. I'm guessing our opponent's double queuing or something. Is MTG bot not on our channel? MTG bot's not on our channel. Wonder how we get MTG bot back. And howdy, howdy. Wonder if it's just down or because of yesterday if I have to go back and get it or whatever. Our opponent has to be double queuing or something is what makes me think about that. Like MTG bot would have told us if they were double queuing. I could just go to the web page, but I only have one monitor, so I don't really want to be pulling stuff like that up on the stream. Our opponent is taking quite a long time, though. He's not really ran ramp spells into counter spells, so I think there's a fair chance that he already has multiple payoff cards in hand. But I guess we'll just sit here and wait and see what happens. I do not have my cell phone with me today, so I cannot see new followers. So I apologize for not thanking people. He's already on 6 lands. Thank you again, Eric. I noticed on Twitter today you said you were prepared for the Grand Prix. I wonder what deck you decided with. Thank you as well, the Finks. I guess we may need this cast out. This game's going to be a hard one to win, I think. Yeah, this game's going to be a hard one to win. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 8. That's 9. So he's technically on Ulamog next turn. But like, even if I use a cast out on this, it's not even good for me. Just have to hope that somehow that he's only got 1 to 0 Eldrazi in his hand. This is what I was talking about, like, why the ramp decks are so hard to beat. Like, they don't have to have any spells. They literally can just hit their land drops. Like, if this doesn't resolve, it doesn't change much. We're still nowhere near being able to win. So this doesn't do a whole lot. If he has even a basic land, he doesn't even need the weirding. He still has 5 cards in hand. So the goal here is that he'll not have any other Eldrazi other than this Ulamog. If he has even one more Eldrazi, we're in really bad shape. A personal spice? Not really. A second Gideon's about the only thing that's even remotely personal. You see usually between 0 and 1, but like the Gideons have well overperformed. The Rivulets aren't a real popular thing, and the Rivulets are beyond good, but that'd be the closest thing to spice. It's pretty stock though. And we get crushed by ramp with this deck, so. Them eating our lands is just so good. Yeah, I live with my grandmother and she's been sick today, so I was trying to make sure she was moving a little and feeling a little bit better before I dedicated myself to sit here, but she seems to be doing a little bit better. I'm trying to stream every day. Like, I live in an area of the world where I won't have the internet for a full year, but I want to see how close I can get to streaming for a full year. Yeah, the meltdowns are awkward, but like I still almost think they're a necessity versus mono red. And I've not got paired versus mono red in leagues very much often, but like 3 of them top 8 at the Grand Prix Denver. So like I'm still just really worried about it. I guess like Stasis Snare would have been better in this spot, but like I still hate Immolating Glare, and I'm still worried about Stasis Snare costing a 3rd mana. Our opponent is playing either very slow or I'm very impatient. I can't tell. Eric Froelich still had the 3 meltdowns on his list. I kind of felt bad going down to the 2. If he's got a second Eldrazi, or sorry, a 3rd Eldrazi, we just are dead. I'm willing to take 1 hit, I guess, just to get the Glimmer off. Wonder what he'd replace him with. Nah, he's got another Ulamog, so we just don't even have an out now, do we? Oh, it's not as bad as an Ulamog. I don't think we have any outs here. If there is any outs at all, it starts with a cast out. Fumigate doesn't do a lot because he's got plenty enough mana to buy back the World Breakers and just beat me with them. Would let me be able to use a Blessed Alliance on Ulamog though, I guess. Could probably handle him killing one land a turn. But anyway, it's not something we can use this turn. I've personally tried the Glare and I've not been happy with the Glare. Like the Glare well underperformed for me. I have not tried Stasis Snare. I probably should try Stasis Snare at some point. I don't know why I let him get this trigger. That was stupid of me. Wow. That was stupid of me to let him get that trigger. I guess it actually didn't end up being that bad. I didn't exile anything I care about. 2 approaches, but that doesn't change our odds of drawing an approach at all. Since we milled half of our deck. Yeah, the second 6-mana Wrath has been really good for me. Like, I got paired versus Zombies twice yesterday, and I think Zombies is still going to be a fairly relevant thing, at least on day 2 of a Grand Prix. So if I cast a Fumigate here, he's just going to get this back, which is insane. He's just got all the mana in the world. And between the runes and the Oasis, I don't even have a lot of time to get anywhere. Oh, and a wreckage? So... There's no more cast outs in my deck, so this is the last way to get rid of Ulamog. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How much damage he can do? There's 2 in the sideboard. I saw a guy yesterday, and I've not had a chance to test it, but he was paired versus Nassif on stream, and he had Drakehaven out of his sideboard for the control matches. And then I saw another streamer called Z Magic later in the night that had a Kefnet, got a Kefnet and something else. Where's my cell phone at? Sorry. I guess I'll go grab my cell phone. He had a Kefnet and another interesting card to try to help the control matches as well. Along with a few more counter spells. I don't know how I feel about the Drakehaven or the Kefnet, but they're 2 cards that I've never tested, so I probably should at some point. Oh, no, he had like Crook of Condemnations and stuff in his board. With the Kefnet and a big Sphinx. Pretty sure I have to cast Fumigate here. Like, I don't see a game where I win casting Fumigate. I don't see a game where I win not casting the Fumigate. I guess this gives me enough time to hit approach off the top, which may be my actual only out. that doesn't even work, I don't think, because I won't have the lands. He'll be killing a cast out this turn. Then if I drew a land, play an approach, I would have 8 lands. Then he Ulamogs and kills 2 of my lands down to 6, so even if I draw an approach, I lose. So I'm pretty sure that I don't even have an out. This is the same list as yesterday. I don't believe there is any out at all for me here. Which means I've wasted a lot of time for nothing, but I was grabbing my phone and stuff. If he's got a 4th shrine, he can even... Yeah, I just don't have an out. I don't have another way to kill this card. And I couldn't survive on board either. Yeah, I'm just not going to waste the time. I die to the attack from this, and there's not another cast out in my deck. We've already gone for all the cast outs. So just trigger alone just kills me. I believe the Sins are better than Fumigates. I believe the counter spells are all fine. And the Summary Dismissal, if it's in this deck for any reason, it's in this deck for this match. I don't know if the Summary Dismissal should even be in the deck. Like, it could probably be any 3-2 yesterday. Lost to Monument and a Teamer match, which I don't lose the Teamer very often, so... I think it was Monument and a Teamer. No, it was Monument and God's Pharaoh Gift. My bad, sorry. We beat Zombies twice and Green-White. Sorry, when you stream every day and then you play some off-stream, sometimes the matches run a little bit together. I'm going to try the Gideon's Interventions here, I believe, as well. I kind of want the Cats. The Cats seem really bad versus the red version, because they're just going to have big Chandras anyway. Cards that don't seem good versus them. Blessed Alliances seem miserable. The Effort Meltdowns are okay, but not great. And probably some of the Fumigates. Could just be the Meltdowns, too. Yeah, I like having a couple of Meltdowns in this match in case they do have, like, the Fault Not Seers and or Trackers early. Because they can actually put a lot of hurt on you. Just not going to bring in the Cats. Blessed Alliance is an out to Ulamog, but when they're getting to the part where they're casting Ulamog and killing 2 lands, it's not... like, they're beating you by killing your lands. It's not necessarily the triggers and stuff. Alright, well this hand was miserable, but I don't think I want to go to 6 when I have 2 lands and a scry. We get the Supreme Will online if we draw a land between our scry and our 3 draw steps, I guess, with the cast out. We have 1 blue mana. This deck hand's not terrible. If we don't hit a blue mana, we're just dead. Providing that their hand's not miserable anyway. Rip. I don't think I'm supposed to go to 5 there. We had a scry, we had a cycle, and we had 2 draw steps. So we had 4 ways to find a blue, or 4 cards to find a blue source before we needed it. And even if on that 4th draw step it had been a coming to play tap land, like, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It just wouldn't have been great. Hey Jay Still, what's up, man? Up. Right on time, Prairie Stream. Still not completely over. Like, we can beat the Tireless Tracker itself. They're on 6 mana though. Can't Supreme Will that. So starting next turn, they can start casting Eldrazi. A Thought-Knot Seer? I kind of want to counterspell it. Like, it's going to take a counterspell or a Glimmer anyway. We need to hit a land and a Descend. This feels a little loose. Especially considering next turn I'll probably main phase Glimmer if I don't find a land. Found a land. So, no Eldrazi would be nice. It is just the recurring one, at least. Okay. This is something that's beatable. I think I have to counterspell that one too. That puts them on Ulamog next turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that puts them on Ulamog next turn. That's not a land. That's not a land at all. Well, can't really afford to miss a land drop. Looks like we are missing it no matter what. If Moto is mean to us, anyway. Well, if he doesn't have an Ulamog, there's some chance we can win. Because we have the double approach in hand. But probably not. Like we have to hit a Descend next turn or something? Stasis Snare looks a lot better than Effort Meltdown right now. That's for sure. Well, you got him up to 13. The runes in play and the desert in play, we definitely have to have a Descend, and then a Descend's not even good enough. So I think we're just dead yet again. So this doesn't do anything. We have 2 rafts, but just casting a raft's not really good enough when they have those. I guess 1 Fumigate. Well, there's 1 Fumigate in the deck, I believe. Yeah, there's 1 Fumigate in the deck. That's not it. Alright. Well, lost the ramp. Expect to lose the ramp. For anybody that cares, I believe exclamation mark deck list still works, though MTG bot is not here. And you can also click the link down below in the description for a link to my Twitter. My Twitter has all the deck lists I play every time I go live, and a link to my YouTube. And if you're watching on the YouTube, the link to the Twitter, the Twitch, and the deck lists are in every one of the descriptions. I found Ramp and like random Champion of the Wits decks, and also decks with like clocks and counter spells, like Blue-White Monument, to be this deck's hardest match. This deck feels to me like all it wants to do is play versus the top 3 or 4 decks. All of the tier 2-ish and tier 3-ish decks it falters a little bit versus. It really wants to play versus the Teamers, the Black Greens, the Zombies. And, like, I don't think Red's that bad, but we have cut an authority, and we have cut two Linvala, so maybe Red gets a lot worse now. I'm not sure. People like Rudy tell me I can't ever beat Red anyway. Yeah, that's the. I've said that on stream a few times. That, like, this deck feels like it's going to be really strong on day 2 of a Grand Prix, especially the top 8 of a Grand Prix. But, like, I don't know how good it is on day 1. On Moto yesterday, we watched Nassif play. Or I watched Nassif play most of the day because Moto was broke. I couldn't really, like, jump around on streams and stuff like that. But, like, he got paired versus Grixis control, blue-black control, and blue-red control, like, practically every round. And the rounds that he didn't get paired versus them was, like, all red deck wins. Now, I'm obviously speaking in a little bit of hyperbole. He got paired versus a few other things, but it just seemed like every time I looked over, he was playing versus another control deck. This hand's fine. There's not even a lot to say about this hand. We've got lands, we've got 2 small interactive spells, and we got to draw 2. And if we're playing versus a deck that we don't need to cast out, it cycles. Cast out's great. People playing less than 4 of cast out in this deck blow my mind. I played with just 2 for a long time. Or sorry, I played with just 3 for a long time, and it was pretty quickly figured out to be a mistake. The Sheltered Thicket could be another ramp deck or some kind of brew. Not gonna cycle. Don't know what he's playing, so like I don't wanna just arbitrarily throw away the cast out, especially when we already have our land drops. If we didn't have 4 lands in hand already, I would have been tempted to get rid of the cycler there. Oh. So there's some kind of ramp deck as well? That's probably bad for us. Can't think of many decks that's casting this card that I'm happy to see. 4 colors. So they have blue spells in their deck too. Well, we were on to play. And that's one of the ways to steal matches versus ramp. Coming to play tap land means they can't hour this turn, so I guess that's something. It may not be ramp. It could just be a deck that's randomly got a Beneath the Sands in it because it's got 96 colors in it. I don't know. Hey, hit another land. Four-color control ramp. Do they have counter spells? And if they do they have a main deck? Or am I lagging, or are they just not doing anything? Always have problems telling that on Moto. You need a couple more lands before they start killing lands. Alright, so he's just looking for 1 land. Hey, MTG bot's back. Well, that's sweet. I wonder if somebody specifically brought him back or if he just come back on his own. I guess that's fine. Is it bad that I really don't want to cycle the sensor? Probably about need to cycle the sensor, don't I? I can stop a land destruction spell next turn. Probably fine to hold it then. I wonder if I'm supposed to cycle the cast out then. Probably have to cycle one or the other. Sensor seems like it's better because cast out would let me play a draw 2 and a sensor. Unless he has a shrine, the sensor also kills the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of cast out. Really need to draw to land. If I don't hit a land on these 2 draw steps, I'll probably have to send the sensor away as well, which is pretty bad. Yeah, pretty bad. I don't think I can afford to miss the land drops though. And he gets to trigger regardless. What are our opponents doing? We had a double approach, which is how we normally steal these games. What's up, Corey? Getting paired versus ramp 2 times in a row's not real fun. I wouldn't think ramp's that popular in general. I would expect to play versus it between 1 and 2 times in like a 15-round event. Well, we did hit the land. Because I'm a coward. The most part I do it, Rudy, is because I'm streaming every single day and I don't have that big of a bankroll. So like, if I had a week where like, if I had a week like you've had, I'm making a joke, but no, if I had like a bad week, I would have to stop streaming. Like, I don't work in real life, so I'm not willing to put money in. So basically, one bad week could end my streams. And I play significantly worse while streaming than I do when I'm not streaming. Alright, again, really want the lands. That's not a land. I don't think attacking's ever going to be in the cards to try to win. So I'd rather just put that on the runes and go on about our day. I'm pretty happy with the main deck. I know a lot of people don't like these meltdowns, but I really like the main deck. That being said, I think I'm with Rudy. Mono Red's probably the best deck in the format, but I find the mirror super awkward, and I don't want to play a bunch of the mirror. Goodbye, little Gideon, maybe? That's fair. I think you need to try to. I think I need to test this deck several matches versus the red deck and see if I feel like I can cut the meltdowns. Because I am super afraid of the mono red deck, which is one of the reasons that I still have meltdown in the deck. I don't really want meltdown in the deck versus any deck other than mono red, but like, cutting down our 2 mana spells makes me feel like we're just going to lose to mono red. We've already shaved an authority out of the side as well, so like if every change we make to the deck and every time we cut like another Meltdown, another authority, another Linvala, I feel like the red match just gets worse and worse and worse, and like I'm really afraid of the red match. Like I'm just super afraid of the red match. We recently cut them. Or I recently cut them. This is the first build of the deck that's not had them. I have been playing Authority for probably since Grand Prix Denver. I've had Authority in the main deck. Not been getting paired versus red online much though. It's still going to be that popular in a Grand Prix because like even if it's not getting played a great deal online, like 3 of them were in the top 8 of the last Grand Prix. Like it is still one of the 4 most popular decks, and it's a deck that I really feel like I have to fear. Sideboard approaches, yeah, they'll probably get us there. I actually think green-white ramp approach is really good right now. I kind of want to try that deck some. Well, he's only at 9 mana, so he can't Ulamog us yet. Alright, not worried about Nicombolas. Goodbye, little Gideon. We'll miss you. I don't even know what that does. Just the top card? I assume we win? Can't think of a way we wouldn't. Opponent did not play an Eldrazi, so that seemed very good for us. My goal is to play versus black, green, or zombies 100% of my rounds. And just know that I can never lose. The Sins have to be good versus Eldrazi. Wonder if these are any good versus an Eldrazi deck that's got like a million different threats. Probably still fine. Blessed Alliances don't seem good here. What do we got? How do I sideboard versus black green? Well, with the old build, I used to bring in the 4 cats, the 2 Descends, and the 2 Linvalas. And I took out some of the slower spells like the Hieroglyphs and Supreme Wills. I used to shave 1 approach down to 2. But with the new build and without having the Linvalas, we'll just be bringing in the 5 cards. So I'd probably be cutting 1 approach down to 3 and like 3 Hieroglyphs and a Will. I think the Gideons are still fine versus black green, even though Gideon's not great versus Walking Ballista. Anyway, these are the cards that seem decent here. I only like cutting it versus decks that I think can stop it from winning, right? Like, a lot of the black-green players I've faced have had lost legacies, and, like, I can't... So, I usually like to shave 1 in those situations. It's just so hard to beat a lost legacy, right? Because, like, anytime you tap for 7 mana on turn 7, they get a free chance to play it that you can't negate, or you can't counterspell, or you can't play around at all. So versus all of the black decks, I generally err with a side of caution. Because it's just so easy to beat those decks with just your creatures and your rafts anyway. It's like you almost don't even need the approaches. Like versus like black, green, and zombies, it may just be better to play like a Gearhulk build of the deck, to be completely honest. Anyway, back to sideboarding. Like, I generally always sideboard these out post board. Like, they're mostly just like, I almost always sideboard those out post board in like tons and tons of matches. While he's playing some, we'll keep a second Fumigate in just in case. Like I would love to do that. And you're probably right, I probably sideboard them out too often. I probably also sideboard out my cyclers too often. Like if I knew they wasn't playing Lost Legacy, I wouldn't sideboard out an approach ever, but when you start sideboarding out your cyclers, it makes it less likely that you're getting your 7 lands and stuff. The Supreme Wills are okay in that match. One of the great things about that match is, though, like, you don't care about their Planeswalkers. Like, if they just cast a Nissa, you don't care about it at all. Like, you don't have to worry about needing a cast out or anything for it. But now that we have that we're bringing in 2 less cards, we're only bringing in, like, the 6 cards now. It's probably a little easier to sideboard. It's really hard to shave 8 cards and not shave or really hard to bring in 8 cards while not shaving a approach. Like I said, we're only bringing in the 6 now. I think it's worth it to go after the ramp spells, especially when he's like some 4-color build of the deck. I think this is the card that most people are... I think if more people played this card, they'd have a lot better results with this deck. Cast a Glimmer just in case they don't... Or play the Glimmer. Play the land so we can play Glimmer if they don't have anything. It still runs into the rough spot to where if they just go lands 1 through 7 or whatever, like, we're still not in great shape. We need a Sacred Ground in this format, and by Sacred Ground I mean Sacred Ground's like destroy, so we need something to let them not exile our lands. I'm gonna attack people with my Cataract Cats and use that new 4-mana Path to Exile. That'll be fun. Goblin Dark Dwellers. You can't have you either. I'm not going to cycle. This card seems like it could still be relevant. I used to sideboard out Censors a lot. But I have recently changed my opinion and just... I'm kind of like of the Nassif camp where I just want all my Censors all the times now. Our opponent may not be playing Eldrazi. Or maybe playing very few Eldrazi because now we saw Nicol Bolas's, Goblin Dark Dwellers. So like... kind of hard for them to have a bunch of lands. Hour? We can censor that too. Every censor in the deck. Yeah. One more censor? That's not a censor. I feel cheated. That's not a censor. Don't want to miss the land drop if we don't have to. Rip. Yeah, I think I was very wrong sideboarding out Censor. All of the, there's an argument that I should have even cycled the cast out there and used the Supreme Will. I think I messed up on that. I believe I should have cycled that cast out for a land drop. Well, I don't care if that resolves, so... Little Gideon makes me beyond happy. I love Little Gideon. Local Dope refers to this guy as Little Chad. I have no idea why he calls him Chad, but Local Dope's from my local gaming store as well. Take 5, I guess. Nah. He still has 4 cards in his hand. A Giante. He looks like a typical Chad. I don't even know what that stuff means, man. You're over my head when you talk like that. I don't think I care about Gigante either. That doesn't strike me as a card I care about. I think I just care about hitting the land. He could get one of our negates. That would suck. Maybe I'm supposed to counterspell Gigante because he can hit our good spells. Not keeping anything but land. Yeah, well, I guess we'll keep these 2. Oh wow, I didn't have 2. See, this is a game where the Rivulet is a bit of an issue. That doesn't come up often. Oops, let's click on that. Doesn't come up often. Which means I technically played the wrong land that turn when I wasn't paying enough attention. Yeah, that doesn't come up real often, but you can see, like, right there, it does come up occasionally. Rivulet might be less impressive with 5, what am I trying to say? With 4 approaches, the Rivulet may be less impressive. Man, I can't talk. It's like my head is mush. My brain is, like, literally dripping out of my ear or something. It doesn't seem like this card is going to be used for much else this game. A typical Chad. I don't own these in paper. Well, we drew one of our negates, so... Okay. Great. Well, they can't Ulamog, so... Lost Legacy. Alright, well, we're dead. I had F6 pressed as well, so they get to see our hand, or our graveyard, or our library, rather. Gunner will not be in town this weekend either. I guess we could have tried to win with just a Descend and the other Gideon, but... I'm glad I bought my Gideon a week or two ago. They've really spiked. They didn't spike that much. Still want to keep some approaches in, I think, to make them have to have it. The game gets a lot more complicated now. The Lost Legacy out of the 4-color ramp deck. Is that paper prices or real life prices? You've shuffled your foils. Your foils are worth nothing, son. I've seen you shuffle. That would be TCG mid that goes by, right? Believe TCG mid? I think GoBox goes by TCG mid. It's like you can still buy them as cheap as 15 on eBay. So, that's a fairly accurate price. Alright, so what do we got? I guess I'm going to keep this hand. Even though this hand looks kind of bad. Are you talking about the Gideon? If you're talking about Gideon, like, they don't get very much play at all. I think it's more of a spike just to the rules change than them being real. It's mostly due to the rules change rather than them being like very sought after or whatever. The new rules change is going to let you have like multiple Gideons in play and stuff. My hand was very weak. Still is very weak. But they're not going to have a spell that we want to cycle, or that we want to even remotely censor before turn 3, right? Like, if they had a transgress, I wouldn't cast a censor on it. We know what we're playing versus. This is game 3. This is a ramp deck we're playing versus. I wouldn't censor versus a blind opponent, but we know what we're playing versus. We're playing versus a 4-color ramp deck. No, I would never use that censor versus a blind opponent. Ever use that censor versus a blind opponent, especially after they showed us Blooming Marsh on turn 1. You know. But he's not going to play anything I care about early. He's not ramping into Eldrazi either, so like I don't really think I care a whole lot about getting the ramp spell. He's ramping into like Goblin Dark Dwellers and Nicoboluses and stuff. Like he's not playing Eldrazi in either of the first 2 games. So if he's not playing Eldrazi, I don't really care about his ramp spells. Versus a normal, like if this was green-white ramp, or if it was red-green ramp, I would 100% save it for a Beneath the Sands, a Gift, or a Wirewood. But like, I feel like I just have to try to beat this guy a little bit faster than the other guys. He took my approach, by the way. which I find very odd. Seems like it's going to work out. Our hand's still very medium. Have a bunch of rafts. He's probably going to be casting like a Dark Dweller or something this turn. Yeah, there's a Dark Dweller. We're gonna lose to the 4-color brew. Oh, going to lose to the 4-color brew. He's playing Lost Legacy as well, so like, nah. Lost Legacy's pretty good versus me. So there's only one approach even left in the deck. So we have to somehow win with the cats? That doesn't feel likely. You just jam Nicobolas here. And then we're drawing to the 2 cast outs in the deck? Well, that's not a Nicobolas. That could be our last approach though. We'll never know. We will never know. Well, at least he's down to 2 cards plus whatever this is. Another land. Pretty unfortunate. Okay. I guess he has a counterspell if he's casting that. Or he's got a better follow-up. Is it bad that I just want to cast an approach to get it out of my hand? Just kind of want to get out of my hand, because if he transgresses it or Doom follows it, the game's practically over. If he counterspelled that, the game was practically over, so maybe he doesn't have a counterspell. Or, well, I guess he doesn't know we sided one out, does he? Yeah, he could just not know we sided one out. That's fine. So Negate would probably be our best card. Hey, Silent Hill. Yep, it's us every day. Really want to draw a Negate. Sensor's not good enough. But it's going to get cast. So he saw this card in our hands, so this card has to be a counterspell. Yeah. Had to be a counterspell. So we're Dobbs. No, it had to be a counterspell that he took with the Gante. Because he'd 100% solid the Descend. Oh, I guess we could have censored that. I'm an idiot. You're right. He tapped 3 mana and I was thinking Negate. Yep, so I'm playing like trash. That's fun. Five, 9, 12. Yeah, we're dead. Can't beat anything. Yep, because I'm not paying attention. And this is why we play friendly leagues while we stream, friends. This is why we play friendly leagues while we stream. Oh well. Not that worried about it. It sucks. You're right, though. Definitely should have censored. Could have won that game. Possibly could have won that game. Well, we would even had a negate on the following turn to beat a Lost Legacy. So, like, he would have had to untap and play it. Thank you for following, Johnny Croat. You get to see me play miserably. Guess I'll try to play a little better. I make quite a few mistakes. Quite a few people on their YouTube videos has pointed out mistakes I've made like that. I think that's fine. Doesn't have an early interactive spell, but we have our lands and we have one cycler. God, I'm embarrassed to make that mistake. Somebody just liked one of my posts that I didn't even know was following me. Starting off 0-2 in a friendly league because I am the best. The best around. You ain't never taken me down. Probably not cycling the hieroglyph. Saheeli. Okay. Probably am cycling the hieroglyph now. Takes 4 more turns for him to ultimate? That thing takes so long to ultimate. Excuse me. Alright, I don't know what we're playing versus. We're playing versus Beat Mono Red deck. Pretty sure Cat's still banned. My combo with some other card. Yeah, well, there's a Planeswalker. Not worried about Nissa ever. Please do not unban that card. If they unban that card, they should at least give me my marvels back. Well, opponent's on a 3-turn clock. We could be on a smaller than 3-turn clock. I'm not sure. Probably going to cast Fumigate next turn no matter what. Especially if they resolve any creature. Just to, like, knock them off Westvale Abbey longer. I mean, every card he's played is a card that I played in this standard format other than the Saheeli itself. Well, he's got blue mana in his deck. Gotta be honest, him having blue mana wasn't something that I was prepared for. He also just hasn't really played anything. Fair. Yeah, but F that. If you're playing cards like Saheeli, you've got to be greedy. Alright, no negate. I don't know what our opponent's playing. Got some like walkers there. He's got a heart. These things attack planeswalkers decently. He didn't show us any removal spells. Didn't show me anything that I can really bless an alliance either. Try this, I guess. It's just bothering me a little bit now that I tilted last game. I took that 5 minutes of I made a mistake. Now it's like, oh wow, you could have cost yourself $2, man. $2 will buy a candy bar. I don't really want to keep this hand, but rolling to draw with a cycle, I guess it's a keep. It's a loose keep. If I keep a 6 with a scry, like, keeping this 7 is the same as keeping that 6, right? I have a meltdown. Those are good versus Heart of Kiran's. Achievement unlocked. We have a blue mana. I guess I should have played the Prairie Stream there. Casey had Thalia, Heretic Kafar. Playing the Prairie Stream was... Not playing the Prairie Stream was wrong. Yeah, he could have had Heretic Kafar, so like I definitely should have had that Prairie Stream on the table. I mean, I don't really know what that card does. Doesn't seem like it's done anything yet, but... Could have probably saved it for like a big Gideon or Nahiri or some card I cared about. I think I should have sideboarded out 2 Fumigates and not just 1. Oh, I did. Never mind. I take it back, fam. I'm a genius. Alright, well that's a Nahiri. It's a card I actually care about. Spiders as well? Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. I don't know what you do. Up to one target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Search your library for 2 creature cards, put them onto the battlefield. And or planeswalkers. Sure. It's technically a 2-turn clock if we didn't have the meltdowns. Had to read a card. What do you do? Create 2 little dudes, and every planeswalker he plays gets an additional loyalty. Wonder if our opponent realizes the planeswalker's not in rule until, or doesn't come into rules or come into effect until the next set. There's an approach. You on the bottom, you on top. You can cuss how you want, man. I don't mind. I need to watch my language, but I'm not going to censor the chat as long as you're not saying things that's like, you know, very poor PC or whatever. I don't know how to properly phrase that, but as long as you're not like being raceful or hate-filled in chat, I don't really care what words you say. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. I probably didn't need to cast Fumigate there. I probably should have just held up the meltdown or the illumination. Sorry. Sure. It's probably right for me to hold up the illumination on that spot. Alright, well, let's see. 3 plus 4. Can't cycle this thing anyway. Rudy's a little less of a scumbag than I am. That's why his name used to be Friend Rudy. So I guess that doesn't kill me. Yeah. That doesn't kill me because he can't use the simult thingy and that. I can technically look for another card. Doesn't kill me. Don't care. No, international orange. I'm pretty sure that I have to. Pretty sure I have to play this deck until the format rotates. Especially considering I am way too cheap to buy other things. So what's his best play here? Like another Simult and a Glorybringer? Alright. Still not seeing how I lose. I guess I lose to Shock. Our opponent did go off this turn. I should have cycled that sensor. Not cycling that sensor was a mistake as well. I've not watched enough of it to know, but typically like anything Candio does. I should definitely cycle the sensor, because like if I just drawn an approach with a sensor, I could have counterspelled the first Nissa and not worried about anything. So I think that was kind of bad of me. Should definitely cycle the sensor. Give us our approach. Dead to Shock? Not a Shock. Well, how has his results been with it? Like, the one time I looked in, he was 3-2. But like I said, I typically like anything Candio does. Anyway, if you're in chat, you can type !decklist, or you can click on the link down below to my Twitter and find a picture. And on the Twitter, every time I go live and all the deck lists I play are posted there, there's also a link to the YouTube on the Twitter. And if you're watching from YouTube, links to the Twitter, the Twitch, and all the deck lists are in the description below. Pretty sure Candio's still on God's Pharaoh's Gift for the Grand Prix, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Blessed Alliance and Descend both a lot. Though in fairness, the majority of the cards that I care about exiling do rotate. Which the majority of the cards I care about exiling right now are Dread Wonder and Relentless Dead. Scrapheap Scrounger still running around the format, but like you don't see it a whole lot. And you don't see a whole lot of recursion either. But Scrapheap Scrounger could come back. Like, it's a very, very good card. It does hit the gods. It does in fact hit the gods as well, which is nice. We punted game 3 of round 2. We definitely could be 2-1 right now if I did not play very, very poorly. That was a pretty bad mistake too. Um, 5 mana hand, but we have 1 card we can scry, and we have 1 cheap interactive spell, and we can technically even scry the farmland if we feel like it. So I believe this is a keep. Depends on how fast their deck is, on whether we have much of a shot. Any deck that leaves a basic plains kind of scares me. Most of the decks that have basic planes are that they would play on turn 1 are typically the Monument decks and typically the God Pharaoh's Gift decks, which are both matches that I'm not super happy to play versus. It's good just to help you find a second approach. It's good in the mirror match, and it's good versus other control decks. But it's mainly there because it has a very, very low cost. Like, it rarely matters that you have it, and it can get you to your approach quicker. Like, anything else than that's just a bonus. I think it's fine trying to kill this. Like, they get to resolve an Oketch's Monument now if they want, but being able to fumigate later seems like it means more than the monument. We've played versus Monument the last 3 days in a row. This is not a match that I ever want to play versus. Still hold the Sensory can at least be used versus the Cloud. The Cloud thingy. I think it's fine to use the cast out on the Bishop during his upkeep. I think it's even more fine to use it now. They can resolve Cloud now, but okay. Pretty well just letting them do whatever they want. In an attempt to play around Spell Queller at every turn. They didn't even consider it that time. Does that mean they have to have Spell Queller? Don't really care if they quell it now because they also have to have a Metallic Rebuke or the Fumigator resolve. Oh, there's an approach. That's a good one. It'll suck if they do have a Metallic Rebuke. The way their hands played out, they very well could have one. No rebuke. Alright. Played the farmland because I don't know when I would actually cycle it this game anyway. Though, I don't know when I'm ever going to live that long, so it's probably wrong to play it. Feels kind of wrong to play it. Game 1 versus the Monument decks hasn't seemed real hard, but Game 2 and 3 have felt horrendous. But to see what our opponent plays, we have a pretty high life total. Wonder if a 40's any good versus these guys. It gains you a bunch of life, but like it doesn't really win. It just like stalls a half a turn, but I don't know, or like a turn to 2. I don't know if stalling a turn to 2 matters. He's intentionally leaving up 5 mana this time. Kind of an odd amount of mana to leave up. I'm not casting the Glimmers because I'm hoping that he'll like use some kind of mana on his turn to counter them, which would give us a chance to get a Fumigate through. Sure, Bygone Bishop's a thing. Just want him to tap as much mana as possible. I may have messed up. I should have cast the Glimmers probably in response to that. Yeah, I don't like how I played these last 2 turns. So, we've taken 1 draw step, so that's 6 down, 5 down. I'll keep it. We get an approach again next turn, but it may be too late. Like they may have whatever counterspell or whatever they need by then. I don't think it targets. I think it's just all attacking creatures. Sure. Go ahead and put an approach in our hand, but I'm not really a fan of it. We'll have to see how aggressive the format is. Like, I feel like it'll be a sideboard card, but I really don't feel like we want to replace our 2 mana interactive spells with 4 mana interactive spells. That being said, like it's playable, but I've got a big problem with just giving my opponent lands in general. Like I feel like most games that even play like a Path of Exile in Modern, I feel like I'm super far behind. But we can pay for 1 Metallic Rebuke. Alright, well, 1's all we can play. I think this game's pretty hard. If he hadn't attacked that Selfless Spirit into us, I think we would have lost. I believe these are better than Fumigates in general, but it's probably good enough to have both of them in the deck. The cats seem okay on the play. They don't seem great on the draw. Most of their things fly, and they have a lot of X-Frees. So, like, they don't seem like they do a whole lot. Summary Dismissal just seems like it's too expensive. Gideon's Intervention doesn't seem like it does much. 4D seem like they can gain me a lot of life when an Oketcha's Monument's in play, but like I don't know if that half a turn or that turn to turn that turn to 2 turns, so like that turn and a half or whatever on average. I don't know if that affects the outcome of the game. And the negates and dispels can be good, but like I don't really like bringing the dispel in when it can just get. I don't know. The negates and dispels are probably good. Cards that seem bad here. I typically don't like Blessed Alliance versus any deck that can just like send a Thraben to its death. I'm not a big fan of cutting Censor ever. I think being able to hit a 3-drop with Censor seems kind of important. Like they have monuments and bishops that they play on 3. That seems fairly relevant. The getting into the trials doesn't do a whole lot either. Getting into the trials doesn't do a whole lot either. It's like this awkward sorcery speed spell that I have to play. The Descends go. The Prairie Streams go, but we get replaced with a better land. And the Blessed Alliances go. The Summary Dismissal goes as well, but it's probably not good. I'm going to try the authorities this game. I think that's it. The Blessed Alliances is the big thing. You missed me getting stomped by ramp, punting versus a 4-color brew that ramped, and then beating whatever we beat last round. I don't even remember. Oh, then we beat the 4-color Planeswalker deck that still had Saheeli in it. This now we're versus Blue-White Monument, which is a pretty rough match for us, and we're down a game. Sounds keepable, but it's very, very bad. I don't think Ramp will go. I think Ramp will still be around. It just won't be Eldrazi Ramp. It's going to be Dinosaur Ramp. Like, there's going to be good dinosaurs to ramp into still. Probably going to need all my lands this game, so I'm just going to go ahead and play the farmlands. We're up a game, but game 1's pretty easy. It's game 2 and 3 that's real hard. Yeah, the uncast Eldrazi is what makes ramp so brutal. Get Frog will still be legal. I like Get Frog. So we're hoping that there's no Oketch's Monument here. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The uncast triggers are pretty relevant, but then again, if you think about it, like the new dinosaur that's hexproof and uncounterspellable is going to be like super relevant as well, right? Guess we'll start with this one. I mean, we lose Blessed Alliance too, so we'll have to see what they print. I'll be real worried about if they give us a good mana producer. If they don't give us a good mana producer, I don't know how worried I'll be. Be kind of interesting if he counterspells this on which spell I would use a cast out. I don't know if getting the Monument or the Bishop's better. probably getting the bishop, because I can beat the monument easier, I think. Kind of think it's getting the bishop. Giving them extra cards seems miserably bad for me. Temur Energy doesn't have very many cards that rotate at all. I don't know what contemplate or contempt. Yeah, I don't know what contempt is. I've not saw it. Just top decking a Fumigate would be nice. We left off 4 in the deck. Fumigate? That's not a Fumigate. That's not a Fumigate at all. What if it's worth cycling to look for a Gideon? Probably not. Probably wouldn't cast a Gideon anyway. Okay. 4-mana Hero's Downfall. Okay. That could be good. Is it? I guess it's instant speed then if it's a Hero's Downfall. Ooh, Exile. Nice. So if our opponent has another counterspell for this to send, like, things are going to get real bad real quick. Which is one of the reasons I got rid of the bishop. We might actually have to cast multiple Wraths versus him, and if that's a scenario that occurs, then it was probably better for me to play this land last turn as well. Should have played the Cataract and not the basic land. For the same Heretic Kafar reason. Like, they're unlikely to be playing it, but still it's a mistake. Like how I'm cycling during his main phase to maybe he act like it's the last turn of the game or whatever. Maybe he played another creature. Yeah, I think, that should pop it up. Right there's a good link to read on it if you want. Pretty much it just lets you subscribe to somebody once a month for free, after you've linked your Twitch Prime account to your Twitter, or sorry, your Twitch Prime account, your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch. You also get like little freebies for games and stuff too. Like if you play Overwatch or just a bunch of other games, like you get some nice little freebies to go with it. Every month they give out some stuff for gamers. That's probably the best Ascend that I've ever had versus... Probably the best Ascend I've ever had versus Blue-White Monument. Yeah, Gearhulk's not in the best spot, but like the Blue-Black Scarab God decks are really good. Like if the red decks get significantly worse, and the Scarab God decks are everywhere, like that says a lot. And the opponent's down to 1 card. Back to 17 life with 1 Effort Meltdown. Hopefully his last card's not a counterspell. I didn't like the use of his negate early in the game. If I was arbitrarily buying a standard deck today, I would either buy Red Deck Wins or I would buy Temur Energy if I was worrying about the rotation. Those are two decks I would consider the most. Go ahead and play this one. Five, sure. So we'll throw that on that. The gift decks will still be kind of strong too, but you do lose Thraben Inspector if you're on that build of it anyway. So we just need him not to have a counterspell, but he probably has a counterspell. If it's just Spell Queller, we'll probably be fine. Yeah, the Channel Fireball guys like that deck. I did not do very well with it when I tested it. It was like a 21 land deck, and I never do very well with 21 land decks. So any 1-mana cycler would technically get us to the approach, if not the approach is on the next draw step. I think that just means there's approach, discard, and next card then. I don't think I miscounted. But we'll see. Alright, so he didn't have a negate. Yeah, I really didn't like his negate early in the game. Alright, I did not miscount. Just want to point that out. I did not miscount the approaches there. Alright, well, we got by a tough match. Opponent drew a lot of million lands. Well, if you think about it, though, they really play like 26 lands because they all have the 4 attunes. And the attunes, it affects mulliganing decisions, but as far as playing spells, it's not like you're missing lands or whatever. Anyway, in the chat, you can type !deck list to see the deck list. You can also type, or you can also look below for the link to my Twitter. And on my Twitter, you see all the deck lists I play every time I go live, and a link to the YouTube. And on the YouTube, in the description of every video, is my link to my Twitter, a link to the Twitch, and a link to the deck list. But back up to Steve Spam. After you have them linked, there's just like a little link up here that looks like a crown or something that you click on whoever you want. And some channels will have emotes and stuff for you. For like example, this channel has this. But yeah, the link from up there should explain anything to you that you care about in that regard. Alright, so playing round 5, we're trying to acquire a pity chest. We're playing versus a guy that I believe that's maybe insane. Huh. Well, I don't think this is an automatic mulligan, but overall, I don't think it's a keep either. We have 3 cards that scry. If that was a come into play tap land, or come into play untap land, I'd probably keep it. Just don't think this is good enough to keep. Oh, I mean, don't worry about it, dude. You don't even have to subscribe to me. I was just answering your question. I just wanted to make sure that you saw the answer. If you're like me or whatever, like I often just have streams up as background music, so like when somebody types out an answer, I don't always see it. So we'll mulligan. And we'll keep. I don't actually know how to do it from a phone either. They made it ridiculously hard. Hooligan told me the other day, but I do not remember. I think you have to like double click their like name or something. Yeah, that's just the reason I was saying it again. I wanted to make sure that So we're possibly versus Wild Eldrazi, possibly versus the exact same match we just were. Could be a number of different things. It does let you on the app, but it's very annoying and hard. I think you have to like double click the name and then it pops up into another little menu or whatever. They made it complicated for no reason, and I don't even know why that they did. This card doesn't get better than this. This kind of looks like a terrible time to use it, but the card really just doesn't get much better than this. That Fraven Inspector is going to be around all the time, and it's going to do more than 4 damage over the course of a game. They didn't play a 2-drop, so I assume now that we're just playing versus Mono White Eldrazi, which has been kind of a hard match for me too. Between Fault-Not Seer, Selfless Spirit, and Gideon and Archangels, like, they have a lot of ways to save all their creatures. He's got a pretty anemic draw, though, so. Like, he's not putting any pressure on us. We have a counter spell now. We have a cast out now. So, considering he didn't get out of the gates very quick, he missed his land drop 3 and stuff, like, that's probably good for us. Oh, maybe it is not Mono White Eldrazi. So it's green white ramp. Interesting. Eh? He did miss a land drop. So this is green white ramp. Like, all 4 of these other cards are in Mono White Eldrazi as well. Yeah, the app's not great. Like, again, I don't even know how to do it. I 100% asked Hooligan. Or Hoogland. Not Hooligan, my bad. And he explained it to me. I may have should have saved a Supreme Will for an Hours of Devastation, but like, he had to hit land, or land, not land, but a land. There's an approach. We're going to keep the approach. Should have cycled the cast out. It was a mistake not to cast, or cycle the cast out there. Oh wow, I don't have 7 mana. I counted bad. Rip. Completely ignore me. I was looking over on their side of the board and thinking that they get to untap and play Worldbreaker and just automatically assumed I had 7 land. Wow, I'm not very bright. Think things are going considerably worse for us now. I'm kind of glad we didn't cycle the cast out now. And by kind of glad that we didn't cycle it, I mean I'm horrified that I didn't. But now that he's resolving in Hours, I feel compelled to keep it to try to beat Ulamog. He missed land drop 3, still easily beats us. Maybe I should have cycled the cast out because like, we just need to hope he doesn't have a Fumigate or doesn't have an Ulamog, I guess. Rip, that's an Ulamog. That's 2 lands down. Okay. So we need him not to kill a land here. And us top deck and approach. The ramp matches are just miserable. Second Ulamog. Yep, can't beat that. Have no outs to the two of them. You can just kill us on the ground, even if we do hit. This is why you can't really beat them, by the way. Like, their Ulamog, their Eldrazi did 0 damage, but just killing our lands is enough to beat us. Alright, so the negates are obviously good here. The descends are better than fumigates. The Gideon's interventions seem okay. And versus the non-Chandra build, I actually like the cats as well. Blessed Alliances are horrible. The fumigates aren't good. We'll try this. So 3 Rampish decks today, even though one of them didn't have Eldrazi in it. Could have beat one. Cost ourselves a PD chest by playing improperly versus the 1. Thank you for following, Matt6751. Thank you for following Savage Plays Games, Stardust Wingman. I really enjoyed the movie Stardust. I don't know if your name has any reference to that, but it's pretty fun. Ooh, the new season of BoJack Horseman comes out Friday. I have a counterspell. Alright, this hand's fine. It's not good, but I don't think I can really mulligan into better. The odds of us even getting 3 lands on a mulligan aren't, and getting like 2 cards that we want, or 3 cards that we want, probably ain't much better than this. And by much better, I mean probably isn't any better. Yeah. It was Solar Cast on me the other night. I wasn't real happy about it. I guess I'm supposed to just counter Beneath the Sands or Springs. And then they get to resolve an hour or whatever. Well, that was probably the best draw we could get. Besides Negate. Like, Negate's a better draw. I'm not putting anything on the bottom that's not lands. Huh. I got 2 lands I don't really want. At least this is good versus our. It's going up to 6 lands now. Our puts him at 1,000,000 lands. Like, the cats just don't do anything here. But we knew that before we put them in the deck. It's just kind of hoping to punish a bad draw, because I think them having a bad draw is like one of the only ways we can beat them. Could hit some kind of counterspell next turn with a farmland. It's even a 4-turn clock because they gain life off of the gifts. No, they can just slam Ulamog. Alright, well, if it's just Worldbreaker, we can beat just Worldbreaker. Yeah, the cats don't seem good at all. I don't think I can beat them unless they have a very bad draw, though. And cats close out the game really fast versus bad draws. That's the only thing I was thinking about. Yeah. Well, this is unfortunate because we know for a fact that he's got the. We know for a fact that he's got the Worldbreaker in his hand too, unless he was just bluffing. You just can't get the 7 mana to beat them. Right on time, Censor. Of course, if... Sure, I can play like a Gideon this turn, I guess. Now we deal 2 damage a turn. That doesn't do anything. So they like have to fade him ever having a Ulamog. No, there's an Ulamog. We dead. No outs. I guess that's not necessarily true. Like we can obviously just like hit a cast out and keep going down this road of praying that they have nothing ever. Actually, I think this green white ramp deck's really good. If I had more time to mess around with the format, I would probably work on a green white ramp deck. But don't really want to test it and or figure it out. It just seems better than the green-red ones versus the field. Is that counterspelling? This doesn't even do anything? Just bite back and kill another land? So our out is find the send in the land, I guess? Which means maybe we should have blocked that turn? So land and descend is our only 2 outs, and it may not even be good enough. Well, we found a descend. I wonder if we'll find untapped land to go with it. It's time for a sweat, boys. And girls. And children of all ages. 1 time untapped land to keep playing? Not an untapped land. I guess we still get to keep playing, though. No, we don't. We're just dead. Alright. Forgot about the mill for half a second. the descend made me go blind. Oh, we hit the descend. Yeah, we had a chance. I mean, we're probably still not a favorite. Like even if we hit the land, we have to find a minimum of a land plus at least two more approaches, or an approach and get 7 turns or 6 turns or 5 turns or some number of turns for another approach. But like he's got a clue, a card in hand, and a draw step. So like he probably gets to ways to kill our lands before we get to ways. I don't know. I guess we could have hit a Gideon's intervention on the following turn and only had to fade one turn and been okay. We'd have got to draw a card off this, right? Yeah. Oh well, it's not even letting us look at the cards. Alright, so back to looking at this. This is the third time this week I've went 2-3, which is the worst results I've had with this deck since we started it. We're not really getting paired versus many teamer decks, very many zombie decks, and very many black-green decks anymore, which is what this deck is very good at beating. We keep getting paired versus like Monument and Ramp and mirror matches and stuff, and like I don't think this deck is tooled enough to beat them. If I hadn't brought in the cats last turn, or last game, they would have just been Fumigates, which wouldn't have done anything for us. I guess they would have been Hieroglyphic Illuminations. Maybe the Hieroglyph would have got there. We could have had the land if we had the Hieroglyph. So yeah, I don't think I'm bringing in the cats again in that match. The main deck still seems fine. Like, we won most of our game ones, right? Oh, never mind. We lost game one versus both ramp decks. I'm not sure about the Gideon's intervention. I brought it in 2 matches, but today, but we never drew it in either. Still kind of feel like we need more controlling cards in the sideboard. We probably need a few more hard counter spells. We might even need a hard counter spell in the main deck. I think tomorrow we're probably going to cut these meltdowns and try 1 or 2 hard counter spells. Or maybe a Stasis Snare and a hard counter spell, or a 26 land and a hard counter spell. But probably going to cut the meltdowns tomorrow. The only decks that I feel confident in the format with right now are this deck, Teamer, and Mono Red. But like, if I was going to work on another deck from scratch, I think I would start working on the Green-White Ramp deck. The Green-White Ramp deck seems like a ramp deck that can beat Mono Red. And if there's a ramp deck that can beat Mono Red, then it seems like it's a reasonable choice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to at least cut the meltdowns for tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to bring in. Anyway, people don't like hearing these little outros, and we're definitely done for today. So that's 2-3. We lost to... that's 2-3. We lost to Red-Green Ramp, Blue-White... Red-Green Ramp, Green-White Ramp, and a 4-colored non-Eldrazi-ish ramp control thingy that we punted versus. And we beat Monument... And we beat some kind of 3-color Planeswalker thing, 4-color Planeswalker thing. So, didn't really learn a lot today. We learned that I don't play very well. Is that something? Anyway, so Murph is streaming, so I believe we're going to throw Murph a shout out, and he'll probably be streaming on the Mana Traders account pretty soon. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you make any more changes, Chris, please let me know. Anyway, I gotta go get a workout. It's getting kind of late here. So we're going to host Murph. He's actually playing a Eldrazi Modern Brew, which I don't normally host people that are playing Modern, but he's a good guy and he's been in the chat quite a few times, so we're going to host him. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Take care. See you tomorrow.